Thank you for joining us once again for today's qualifying session. Sit back, relax, and enjoy what we hope will be a fantastic contest for pole position. So then, Ant, it's another Grand Prix weekend, another exciting qualifying session ahead of us. What are you going to be looking out for over the next few minutes?
The first question is going to be who can avoid making mistakes. There isn't much margin for error in qualifying, and you have to bear in mind that the track conditions may have changed since practice, particularly as we've had a few support races in the meantime. If the brake bias settings, for example, don't take this into account, it's extremely easy to lock up a front wheel and cause a flat spot. Just like that, your lap's ruined and you've wasted a set of tyres to boot.
Good job, mate. Really well done. That was a fantastic drive.
And with qualifying complete, let's review our top three today. Verstappen, Hamilton, and Valtteri Bottas. Well, that wraps up. Welcome to Spielberg for another exciting Formula One race. This circuit is renowned for its backdrop, surrounded by natural beauty. Well, it certainly is an idyllic destination for the Austrian Grand Prix. It's one of the shortest laps on the calendar today then, with 7 rights and just 3 lefts, making up the 10 corners of this high-speed circuit. Turn 2 is barely a corner at all. They'll be flat out through there, a left-hand kink into the uphill braking zone of Turn 3. Turns 1, 3 and 4 are all potential opportunities to overtake. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here today, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
But from the moment qualifying's over, you start to feel the adrenaline in your body build up and the buzz in your stomach as you anticipate the run down into turn 1. It's all a bit like going into battle, and the unknown situation makes you nervous. Those pre-race nerves are a good thing. The day you don't have them means that you don't care anymore. And of course you have to make sure that all the procedures are second nature to you, so that they're not taking up too much of your capacity.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Leclerc, Sebastian Vettel and Albon, Grosjean, Norris, Hülkenberg and Kevin Magnussen, Sainz, Kvyat, Daniel Ricciardo and Raikkonen, Stroll, Gasly, Sergio Perez and George Russell. Kubica and Antonio Giovinazzi starts from the back of the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Okay, remember to protect the inside on the run down to turn 1. Make yourself as wide as possible, robust but fair. Alright, well done off the line, we're in a good position. That was the fastest lap of the race. Keep this up. Leading our teammate by 16.3 seconds. This is your final lap of the race. Nice work, that's P1. Race win. Well done.
Red Bull pulling out all the stops today. What a great win. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection, a shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everyone at the team. Some amazing talents out on the track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
There's a few contenders, but George Russell definitely stood out, I think. A really solid...
Welcome along again to the Marina Bay circuit. The atmosphere is thick, not just with humidity, but with tension as well, as we get ready for qualifying here at the Singapore Grand Prix. It always looked like the kind of track that asks an awful lot of the rear tyres, such as the frequency of low-speed exits.
Lots of low-speed exits means the rears are in for a lot of punishment. It's all too easy to spin them up coming out of a corner too aggressively. It might look great for us as spectators, as we love to see a car driven beyond its limits, but it's not going to result in a great long-run pace.
Fantastic. You've got pole.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who will be fronting the grid. Verstappen. It's finally race time here at Marina Bay, and a warm welcome to all of you joining us for the action. The wait is almost over. It's time for the Singapore Grand Prix. The Marina Bay Street Circuit then has 23 corners, 13 to the left and 10 to the right, taking us a total of 3.1 miles around the landmarks of downtown Singapore. An average lap speed around here, just 107 miles per hour. It's race day yet again, and joining me for a chat, Anthony Davidson. And our racers are certainly in for a rough day today. What will you be watching for as they go down into turn one?
Well, the start of the race is always one of the most nerve-wracking parts. You have to hope that everyone is able to get off to a clean start, and this is possibly the trickiest part of the entire race. So many drivers in such a small space, and finding your braking point into turn one as well. It's a testament to the driver's skill that there aren't more incidents.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he starts from pole position, with Sebastian Vettel starting alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Hamilton, Alexander Albon, and Leclerc, Sainz, Perez, Norris, and Kimi Raikkonen, Hülkenberg, Fiat, Daniel Ricciardo, and Magnussen, Stroll, Gasly, Romain Grosjean, and George Russell. Giovinazzi and Robert Kubica takes the last spot on the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Okay, here we go. Nice start. race so far. Wing damage, but only a few laps left. If you can live with it, stay out. Replace that front wing. Box now. is 12.1 seconds. You worked hard for that one. Congratulations.
So another fantastic victory for Red Bull today. Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
I'd say it was down once again to good, consistent driving, nailing the corners, working to the track conditions and perfecting the team's strategies. They got all of these things right today and the results speak for themselves.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sport that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win. Let's focus on the driver of the day, Anthony Davidson, who